My brother spent tens of thousands on escorts, and now I'm being suspected of ties to the criminal underworld. My brother has racked up debts for escort services, and now I'm being suspected of ties to the mafia. My life is spiraling out of control. You know, I always thought I'd lived through the worst days of my life, when we barely made ends meet after losing our mom, when I worked nights to save the family business, and when I tried to get my younger brother Mike out of all his troubles. But I never could have imagined I'd find myself on the verge of destroying my own life. Because of my brother and his adventures. A few days ago, I got a call from the bank. I remember that day down to the details. It was 8:30 a.m., I had just walked into my office in Seattle and was unpacking my coffee when a call came from the security manager. He said my account was frozen due to several transactions from Las Vegas. At first, I thought it was some mistake, but things only got worse. As it turned out, the amounts were staggering, around $60,000 spent on escort services, and all the charges were under my name. At first, I even laughed, thinking it was some kind of prank or fraud, until the manager told me that each transaction came with my name and signature. My legs gave out under me. Me, a law-abiding citizen with no record, not even a speeding ticket, now seemed to be involved in a massive debt over services I had never ordered, and I couldn't even understand how anyone could have dragged me into this. I immediately called my brother Mike, knowing he had a tendency for such things. He was always seeking thrills, but honestly, I never believed he'd go this far. When he didn't answer, I started trying to reach him on social media, calling other numbers, but he had simply vanished. And there I was, sitting in my office, looking at the familiar walls that once inspired me to work, but now seemed cold and alien. This sense of impending collapse was almost unbearable. I knew this situation would not only harm me, it could destroy everything I'd built. Frankly, I can barely withstand this pressure. I had a life plan in which I worked for years to earn the trust of clients and partners. My business partners aren't particularly concerned about my innocence, they simply don't want to be associated with someone with a questionable financial background. Now, I'm not even sure if I'll stay afloat or lose everything. Seattle became the place where I built my business, where I invested my strength and money in every aspect of the work to leave a mark on this world. And now, all that may be left are memories. It's not just about the money. I feel like I'm losing control of my own life. Every phone call, every look from my partners makes me doubt myself even more. If you knew what it's like to be accused of something so dirty that you could never even imagine it. You feel as if the ground is splitting beneath your feet, leaving you without any solid footing. Reddit comments concern Citizen88, I can't imagine the stress of doing everything right only to have someone ruin your life. Especially when it's someone close. Maybe you need to involve lawyers or someone with influence. Rachel Righteous, Alex, stay strong. Sometimes life really seems to mock us, but there's always a way out, even from a situation like this. The main thing is not to let others turn you into a victim. David The Rock, this sounds like a nightmare. Sometimes family doesn't realize how their actions can destroy someone else's life. I feel for you, and I hope you find a way to bounce back. Just Jules, Alex, your brother clearly doesn't care about your reputation. Maybe it's time to reassess your relationship with him and think about whether it's worth any more sacrifices. I can't believe this is happening to me. It's been 2 days since I spoke to the banker, and my head is still in a fog. My reputation, my business, are on the brink of collapse, while my brother, who caused all of this, has just disappeared as if he vanished. The last time he reached out was last Wednesday, briefly messaging me on Facebook with something like, "I'll call a bit later," but a week has gone by, and there's been no call, no message. I don't even know if he's still in Vegas or if he's run off somewhere. Yesterday, on November 12th, my patience ran out. During my lunch break, I grabbed my phone and started calling every place he could have been. I called his old friends, even his neighbors. No one knew where he was. At one point, I was so overwhelmed by panic that I almost bought a plane ticket to Las Vegas to find him myself. But I understand that I just can't leave my business, things are collapsing as it is. Meanwhile, my situation is only getting worse. Last night, I received an email from a potential investor from Chicago, to whom we had just sent a project proposal for evaluation. He didn't say anything directly, but hinted that he could no longer consider our proposal due to uncertainties. I can guess what that means. Rumors about my debt and expenses on escort services have already begun to spread. And it doesn't matter that all this is the result of my brother's fraud. It's hard to look at myself in the mirror, knowing that I can't even convince people of my innocence. I feel my life tearing at the seams. I'm 38 years old, I've given 15 years of my life to building this company. My business is all I have. It's not just about the money, it's my friends, my partners, my clients, all the people who believe in me. And now, I feel like I've been declared an outlaw. And the worst part, I can't do anything about it. My brother left me in a pit of debt, dragged me into a shady affair, and doesn't even have the decency to reach out and explain. Each day now feels like a new battle. This debt suffocates me like a noose around my neck. Everyone doubts me, looks at me with suspicion. It doesn't matter that I'm not involved in any illegal activities, because in the eyes of business and partners, my uncertainty is as good as guilt. All those hours spent at work, all the sacrifices. I'm trying to hold myself together, but the longer this goes on, the more it destroys me from the inside. After an hour of unsuccessful calls, at the end of the day, I left my brother one last voicemail. I told him that if he doesn't get in touch soon, I'll have to take action against him. What exactly did I mean? I have no idea. If only I could get rid of this feeling of anger and despair. But I understand that for my brother, this might not even be a problem. Mike is likely just hiding and waiting for everything to somehow work itself out, not caring that I'm left to deal with the consequences of his actions. It's humiliating and soul-crushing, putting everything I had into my business, only to now feel as though the business sees me as the ultimate betrayer. I want to just pull everything together and put an end to this situation, but I don't even know where to begin. How much longer I can withstand this pressure, I don't know. I'm even starting to think that if Mike would just admit it was him and pay it off, things would be so much simpler. But no, he's hiding, and I'm left with a ruined reputation. Reddit comments Blue Collar Bob, that's terrifying. Your brother clearly doesn't care about you or your business. I hope you find the strength to hold on. Maybe you should go to Vegas and find him. You deserve answers. Shadow Seeker 92, I can't believe people can betray you like that, especially a brother or sister. It's awful that he used your name for this. My heart goes out to you. I hope justice catches up with Mike. Bitter Dreamer, your situation is terrible, but was it really worth investing so much in your brother? Not all relatives are worthy of trust. You should start protecting yourself, no matter how it looks for Mike. No trust for anyone. I feel your pain, man. I had a similar situation with my brother, and the only thing that saved me was filing a lawsuit against him. Hang in there, and know you're not the only one who's been betrayed by a relative. Last Monday, I had a meeting I'll never forget. It was 8 a.m., and I had just arrived at the office when I received a message from an unknown number. The text was simple and chilling: come to the police station today at 10:30. Detective Martin is expecting you to discuss something. This was the second letter from the police department in the past few days. I couldn't avoid going. The Seattle police station greeted me with cold walls and unfriendly glances. At that moment, I felt as if everything I had achieved and built over the past 15 years was crumbling under the pressure of this endless black hole of betrayal created by my brother Mike. When I entered Detective Martin's office, she was already sitting at her desk, reviewing documents. Seeing her for the first time, I realized I was facing someone accustomed to getting answers, even if it meant ruining someone's reputation. Sit down, Mr. Alex, she said briefly, without looking up from the papers. I sat down and felt cold sweat break out over me. She pulled out several documents, showing me printouts with dates and transactions linking me to shady escort agencies. The amounts were substantial: $15,000 on October 5th, $10,000 on October 15th, and another $25,000 at the end of that month. And all of them, as she emphasized, were made in my name. Are you aware that these actions could be classified as money laundering or even participation in illegal schemes? Detective Martin asked, looking me directly in the eyes. Her words made my legs buckle. I tried to explain that I had nothing to do with it, that it was all my brother's doing, but she didn't look convinced. She was pursuing the case, and I was her main suspect. Your brother is currently unavailable, he's not responding to calls or messages. But the money was transferred to accounts linked to you, Mr. Alex. We need clear answers. Why was this done under your name? Her questions felt like a verdict. I felt I was losing control of the situation. Everything I said seemed to break against a wall of mistrust. She was fully convinced that I was somehow involved. This conversation was yet another blow that I felt I might not survive. Deep down, I felt a true sense of fear, the primal fear of being openly accused of a crime I didn't commit, and finding it nearly impossible to prove my innocence. That thought terrified me. Even if I could find Mike, even if he confessed, would that be enough to exonerate me? After the interrogation, I stepped out of the station and stood outside in the cold air for a long time, trying to calm down. My head was spinning with thoughts, and a fine shiver ran through my body. Detective Martin made it clear that this case wouldn't end simply, and even if I had no ties to criminal schemes, all the connections, my brother's debts, and my reputation were already dragging me down. On my way home, I thought only about how to avoid total collapse. I was beginning to realize that losing my business would be the least of my losses. Now I might lose my freedom, my job, and be left with nothing. When you work for years, building your reputation and investing everything into it, money, time, effort, dreams, only to have it all potentially fall apart in a moment because of someone you always trusted. Could it be that everything I achieved is worth nothing? Is my only option to sacrifice my brother and start over, if that's even possible? Reddit comments Empathy Eagle, Alex, I can't imagine what you're going through. It's horrible to be made a suspect because of someone else's actions, especially when it's family. Hang in there, and be prepared to defend yourself with everything you've got. Cold Case Hunter, it sounds like your brother doesn't even realize the danger he's put you in. Maybe it's time to consult a serious lawyer? Detective Martin seems determined to get to the bottom of this, and you need protection. Never trust anyone. 47. Wow. I know people who were accused of crimes because of family issues. But when it's your own family dragging you into it, that's truly horrifying. I don't understand how Detective Martin can even suspect you. Loyal links, remember, there will always be people willing to fight for you, especially if this becomes a public case. Maybe you should consider reaching out to journalists or anyone who can help you get the truth out. Today is Friday, November 18th. I remember it well, because now I'm literally counting the days when I might still have a chance to fix this. Each day brings new challenges, new blows, along with more losses that I feel I can't bear much longer. Today, I received a message from one of my biggest clients. He informed me that he was terminating a contract we had been preparing for 3 months. My business, built over years, is coming apart at the seams. When I opened the email and saw his signature, Tom, our client from Portland, who had been with us for 5 years, I just couldn't believe it. He wrote that he had to stop working with us due to uncertainty about my financial and legal stability. Instead of emotions, I felt a cold sense of doom growing inside me. It was like watching everything I'd worked for my entire life slowly dissolve before my eyes. And that wasn't the end of it. An hour after that email, I got a call from my girlfriend's father. He invited me to meet him at a cafe near their home in Belltown. He had heard the news about me and my brother. Her father was always someone for whom reputation meant everything. He knew me as a reliable, honest guy, but now doubts were creeping in for him, too. When I entered the cafe and saw his face full of mistrust, I realized I was losing my last allies. "Alex, you understand this doesn't just reflect on you, right?" he asked, making no effort to hide his doubts. He started to hint that my girlfriend might end our relationship if the situation didn't clear up. I tried to explain that this wasn't my fault, but his words felt like a punch to the heart. This meeting only deepened my despair. Now I'm literally on the edge. For the past 2 weeks, I've been trying to find a way out of this situation. I've called friends, former partners, even people I haven't been in touch with for years, hoping they would understand and support me. But all they do is offer sympathy and keep their distance, avoiding contact. I can't even find words to describe the feeling of isolation and betrayal. It turns out my whole life was built on false foundations because, at the critical moment, those I thought were close simply disappeared. What am I supposed to do? Even if I find Mike, will it change anything? He will refuse to admit it was his fault. He'll find a way to twist everything so that I'm the only one left to blame. The past few nights, I can barely sleep because every time I close my eyes, I see the faces of those who no longer believe in me. I used to be someone people trusted, someone they believed in. Now I'm just a suspect, someone they don't even listen to. After today's events, I'm starting to wonder if there's anything left I can save. If so, what? Will there be anything left of me if I can't fix this? And how do I fix something that has left me so alone in the face of this enormous disaster? Reddit comments Broken Spirit 77, Alex, your stories resonate with me. It's amazing how people can betray you so quickly when you truly need support. Don't give up, try to find help among those who still believe in you, even a little, courageous crow. Sometimes situations reveal who's really there for us. It hurts, but I'm sure you'll find a way. You may have to sacrifice ties with those who doubt you, but now you need to protect yourself. Once hopeful, now hardened. When you lose everything, it really makes you think about who you can truly trust. Maybe this is a chance to start over with a clean slate, just some random guy 89, brother or not. If he's causing you such serious problems, you need to put yourself and your reputation first. I hope you find a way to resolve this.